About 2 days after I arrived, our unit picked up from Fort Wainwright and went behind Eielson Air Force Base to the field in February. And guess what? The temperature dropped to 40 below. Hi, my name's Keith Kurber. Have you ever been outside of Alaska and people ask you where you're from and you tell them you live in the great state of Alaska and they look at you funny like, what brought you to Alaska? Some people can say they were born and raised here, but not me. I grew up in the Midwest. But the thing that caused me to come to Alaska was a map. Yes, a map of the world from National Geographic that was stapled on the wall next to my bedroom. I would look at that map at night before I fell asleep and I would ask myself, wow, there's so many cool places to go. Where's one I'd really like to see? And I can remember looking at the top of the North American continent and seeing that strange archipelago sticking off of Canada that we know as the great state of Alaska. Fast forward from my childhood into my young adulthood, I finished West Point and I was given the option of selecting Alaska as my assignment. So for the record, I wasn't forced sent to Alaska, I volunteered to come. And when I got here in February, and wouldn't you know it, about 2 days after I arrived, our unit picked up from Fort Wainwright and went behind Eielson Air Force Base to the field in February. And guess what? The temperature dropped to 40 below. You know, I learned a valuable lesson on that trip, and that's this, that when things get tough, you may have to get very cozy with your friends. What do you mean, Keith? We were on an all-night mission where we walked probably several miles to do an attack at night, which by the way in February is pretty much the entire day. When we got done with the attack, we marched over to a road and we marched down the road, and one of our other lieutenants had gone ahead of us and he'd set up warming tents. Well, I was a platoon leader, and a platoon is usually 30 to 40 guys, but I had about 22 guys. The tents are designed for 10 men to fit in. But you know what? It was 42 degrees below zero and we needed to get out of the cold and into the tent to get warm. I'm the last guy to get into the tent because the leader's always the last guy to get into safety. And I can remember that the line into the tent stopped with about 3 guys outside the tent. And I sat there for a moment because, hey, you know, maybe the guys were just positioning themselves. But that little wait started to last for a couple minutes, and finally I pushed back the guys in front of me, got to the edge of the tent, stuck my head inside, and everybody was in there enjoying the glow of the Yukon stove, and they weren't moving. And I asked them gently, fellas, there's still 4 of us outside the tent. Would you mind gathering together just a little cozier? Actually, I said words that were quite a bit harsher. And you know what the guys did when I said that? They did nothing. So I stepped back out of the tent, stuck my head back up in the tent, and then in a kind and gentle, actually no, in a very loud, abrasive, and a firm voice, I said, get tight. And you know what guys did? They got tight. It was interesting. In that tent were all sorts of soldiers. There were tall soldiers, short soldiers, there were wide soldiers and skinny soldiers. But you know what? We got very close to each other because we wanted to stay alive and we wanted to get warm. Friends, we had a problem, and it was a pretty easy one to solve. It only took raising one's voice. Well, you know, the problems we have in Alaska facing us now, they really aren't going to require raising our voice, but they are going to require us coming together as Alaskans, working together for solutions that will benefit not just a small part of Alaska, but that will benefit all Alaskans. If you believe in the future of Alaska and a future worth fighting for, I'm asking you to send me, Keith Kurber, the Republican candidate for House District 4 to Juneau. Thank you.
Paid for by friends of Keith Kurber. P.O. Box 82106, Fairbanks, Alaska 99708.